Hello, my name is Laura Fleming and I am a energy worker. I'm professionally trained in a practice called Reiki, and I am also a certified professional life coach. So this kind of series, this information is really for people who work with other people. So you could be a doctor, you could be a life coach, you could be a therapist or a physical therapist, whatever your modality is for helping people. I have had lots of different inquiries about different practices I do for myself to help support me in being the best practitioner I can be, because as a practitioner we really have to be in a centered place to provide a service to someone in need, whatever their need may be. The greatest gift we can offer anybody is being centered and clear and being able to kind of put our stuff to the side and be as present as possible for the patients or clients, the people that we're connecting with. So the first topic that I'm going to discuss today, I'm not sure how much I'm going to be doing this, but I felt called to it and that's just how I roll. So the first topic is about protecting your energy. And I almost want to say protecting, because I do not believe in any forces, any energies of the universe being able to influence us without our invitation, without our willingness to let it in. So I use the word protect, but I don't want to send the message that there's dark forces trying to work their way into your therapy sessions. However, when we're working with someone who's got stuff going on, as we all do as human beings, we can have a tendency to take on other people's energy. When I first started doing Reiki, I did not have a practice of protecting myself, of saying a little prayer to surround myself with light so that I don't take any people's energy on. I would, before a session, it could be hours, it could be like 10 minutes or so, where I would be preparing, because I do in-person sessions, but now I do a lot more remote. And it was really for in-person sessions where I would start to feel, well, I didn't know it was my client's energy, but I did know that I was feeling different than I had before. So I'd maybe start to get really anxious or get really hungry or agitated, or my temperature would change drastically. I would notice behaviors that weren't really like true to me. And I wondered, like, what's going on here? Like, I get so nervous before this person comes, or I feel so depressed, and that's not where I felt before. I started getting ready for them to come here. What's going on? I was picking up on their energy before they were even here. I'm intuitive. I am very empathic, and empathic meaning I can sense other people's energy. I believe I was born with that gift, but also my mom was sick with cancer from a very young age for me, and at some point she was unable to communicate clearly, and so I was always trying to read her. I was her little translator, and I knew what she was feeling before she even said anything, so I would try to people please by reading other people's energy. So that's the blessing and the curse. So when people would come to me, I would be feeling their energy before they even walked in the door. And I realized that one day because someone came in and they said, "Oh, I felt so nervous, but the second I walked in the door," and I'm thinking to myself, I was just feeling nervous. I was picking up on their energy before they even showed up. I mean, how often am I doing this? Who am I? And what is everyone else's stuff? And I have a fiance, and I started realizing, like, when he gets anxious, I was picking up on that, and I'd start to get agitated and feel like, too. So I'm going to give you a couple little things that I do. You can please, with any advice, with anyone's input about anything, put it through your filter. Put it through, like, does that resonate with me? Does that feel good when I think that thought? Does that practice feel good to me? Yes, great. No, leave it. So, yeah, I'm winging it here. So I'm just going to kind of go with what I feel called to share first. So, now that I understand that I am that sensitive to other people's energy, I don't just write it off as, oh, I'm empathic, I feel everyone else's stuff. It's, okay, I'm empathic, so it's my job to take care of myself, to make sure when I am picking up on others' energy that I address it as soon as I feel it. And you'll notice, because if you're paying attention to yourself, you have a general set point of the day. Generally, some people change significantly all throughout the day. Some people wake up in one state and shift within a couple hours. For me, my general set point is very grounded, very even, calm, silly, joyful. So when I start to feel other things and I don't have much going on to really feel that way, I go, okay, there's an indication. There's something going on. Maybe I picked up on someone's energy. I was just thinking about my cousin or whatever it may be. So when I feel that, I say, okay, I'm going to sit quietly for just a moment. And sit quietly, yes, you could sit, you could be walking, you could be cleaning dishes, you could be in your car. It doesn't matter what you're doing, but I'll use the term sit quietly. And what I say is, okay, I'm acknowledging that energy I'm feeling. So say this person's quite frantic, and maybe I don't even know who it is. Maybe I've been around a couple different frantic people today. I'll say, I acknowledge this frantic energy, and whoever's energy this may be, I'm returning it to the rightful owner with love. Sometimes I imagine a bow on it, like, here you go. That's not mine, that's yours. And when I was younger, and even when I started doing Reiki in 2016, I thought it was a gift to be able to take people's stuff and deal with it. I'll process it for you. But what I realized, it's actually disempowering to say, oh, you clearly can't handle that anxiety. Bring it over. I'll package it up real nice and take care of it and transmute it for you. That's not helpful. What I'm saying, without saying it, is that I don't think you're capable of dealing with this anxiety, so give it to me. I am so well practiced in dealing with this, and I will shift it for you. And it's like, no, that person can do it. Every single person can deal with the emotions that they have, and it's quite disempowering for me or any other person to say, oh, let me take that on, let me care for that for you. No, it is empowering to realize that every single being has the ability to deal with whatever emotions are rising up, whatever situations are rising up on their own. And yes, I believe in community, but I'm talking about emotional, energetic stuff. And yes, I help people for a living dealing with the stuff that they feel overwhelmed by. However, when a client comes to me, I'm not like, oh, give me all your stuff so I'll clean it up for you and then give it back. It's, okay, I see you're dealing with this. Let's work through it together. I'm going to show you how capable you are of dealing with this emotion, with this energy, with these strong feelings you're feeling. So again, that's the first thing. I say, okay, return to rightful owner or return to sender with love. One other thing that I do is I imagine a white light around me. So the purest form of white light. So whatever that means to you, if you connect to God, Jesus, universal intelligence, I say I surround myself with the purest form of white light, the highest, purest energy that exists. And to me, that feels really good. To you, you may connect to Christ consciousness. You may fill yourself with Christ's white light. Do what feels right to you. And another thing that I say that I learned from my Reiki teacher was only the most positive energies come to me now. This is what I'm talking about, like when we're working with people, because of course there's negative energy. Of course people have shit going on, right? But when you say only the most positive energies come to me, meaning that's all I'm willing to take on, but I'm not willing to take on those heavier things. This exchange of love and clarity and compassion, I'm willing to kind of go back and forth with someone about that. But in terms of a heaviness, anxiety or depression, I don't want to take that on. So I want only the most positive energies to come to me now. And like people, energetically, we can set boundaries. So like in my space, people come into this space and they go, oh my gosh, it feels so good in here. Well, one thing, Reiki builds in a space. So the more Reiki you do, the more healing work you do in a space, the more it grows in here. So I do my remote sessions in here. I do my energy forecast. I teach Reiki in here. I do Reiki for myself. I Reiki my house. So there's a lot of high vibes in here. But I also make sure that I clear my space. So using things like incense, Palo Santo, you could even use a candle. It's all about the intention, honestly. It's the intention that matters. It's most of life. The intention is what matters the most, not necessarily the execution of it. So boundaries. Before, like, I have my doors right over here, and in that door, I have stood there before with the door open, and I imagine this beautiful white light, imagining, okay? Use your imagination here. And I actually was never one for imagination until I got into energy work and found it really works. And I imagined this white kind of sparkly, diamondy light that goes from floor to ceiling, and anything, whether it's an Amazon package, it is new sneakers, it is a human, it is a client, anything that comes through my door will be cleared, and whatever it is that they have on them isn't going to be left here. So it's almost like this purifying wall that I have set up in my own mind. And what I was speaking of was boundaries. So as I started doing energy work, I started to notice, again, other people's energy and saying, like, you know what, I'm not taking on anyone's stuff. You know, you have that anxiety, I'm going to give that back to you. That's not mine. I'm not willing to take that on. As I continued through my energy work, I started to receive information from people who have passed on. And I started to get really excited, and it felt really good. Then a couple times I got woken up in the middle of the night. I was like, okay, this isn't feeling good. I'm getting interrupted. And like I would be in mid-session and feel like a strong presence that was like, basically, listen to me, screw what you're gonna say, listen to me. And so I had to set boundaries. I had to say, like, again, only the most positive energies come to me. If a spirit wants to communicate, I will be the one to say, I would like to talk now, but I'm not going to have these intrusive energies working around me. As a light being, as a light worker, shining light on the places that have gone dark within us as a humanity, it's like a moth to a flame. You can have these different sources of energy come to you, and unless you set a boundary, they kind of hang all around you. And that's not to scare you. This is not anything to be afraid of. You are capable of managing it, but just being aware to set boundaries. So if you have a deceased loved one and you're like, oh, I really want to talk to her, but you imagine actually your mom talking to you and you get freaked out, that's too far. So maybe, like, I ask my mom for hearts and she send me heart rocks or heart clouds, or people send me hearts or give me hearts, or, you know, whatever it may be. One time I had worked with a client, and her mom, I had set the intention before the client came, like, if there's any deceased loved ones, any energies that have something wonderful for her, I would love to invite you in. And a couple minutes before this client came, I felt called to grab a couple crystals, and I don't feel very drawn to crystals, so I was like, this is interesting. One was for the throat chakra, which is about speaking your truth, and the other one for the solar plexus, which is the emotional center. Then I heard, okay, turn up the heat, get that extra blanket, going on and on and on about like making the space more comfortable, light that candle, shut that incense off. It was just like very direct information. So my client came in, she gets on the table, and I always say, like, would you like to stay on top of the blankets or would you like to get underneath? And she's like, yeah, I just want to be cozy, like I'm always cold. And in my head I'm going, yeah, I know, some angel of yours was telling me that. And so it ended up being her mom, and her mom had lots of information for her, but I allowed that in. A situation where I'm pointing over here because I was washing dishes one time, and I said, after that session, I was like, I really want my grandpa to come to me. Like, I get messages from my mom all the time, and I love that, and I know I'm not ready to see her. She came to me in a dream one time, and I woke up feeling like she was alive still, and that was just shitty. It was tough for me. So I didn't want that anymore. So I made that very clear. And so she doesn't show up for me in dreams, or I don't feel her as much. It's more messages from animals and hearts. So I was washing dishes, and I had said, like, oh, Grandpa, I would love to see you. Like, I could see you and be okay. So I'm washing dishes, and I wouldn't believe this if it didn't happen to me. So believe it if you want, I don't really care. But so I'm washing dishes, and I'm like, yeah, Grandpa, like, I would love to. And then I felt a cold hand on my cheek, and I flipped out. I was like, nope, don't ever come to me again. No, I don't like this. Don't touch me. Don't be in my space. Like, get out of here. And I have chills thinking about it because it was quite, like, I asked for it. I really felt ready for it. It came, no thank you. And so we can draw boundaries like that with energy. So as a healer, as a practitioner of helping other people, it is so important that you decide what you're willing to let in. Another thing I will say in terms of like protecting your energy, when you work with someone and you kind of feel low afterwards, well, every person we work with is somehow an energetic match to us, because energy attracts like energy. It's the law of physics. So people aren't coming to you because they're a mismatch. There's something that draws you two together. So sometimes if someone comes and they're very depressed, and when they leave, you're feeling depressed yourself, and you're like, oh, they left this, I took it on. Yes and no. There's a little bit of taking it on, but also you have depression inside of you. Because as humans, we have the whole emotional scale from depression to pure bliss. We have the ability to feel all of it. So know that when, someone presses a button of yours, the button already exists. They didn't place that button there and then press it, right? That's already something in you. So depression, maybe that's something that you've experienced before, or you neglect and you're like, oh, I can't ever be depressed because that would be so terrible. I could never, I'm too spiritual to go there. That is an opportunity for you to look at whatever it is that's been poked, and to address it, to say, okay, this is obviously something inside of me, like me feeling so anxious about clients coming. That was true. Yes, it was their energy, but it was also something inside of me that felt, I mean, the amount of times I've thought to myself, like, is this gonna work? I haven't done it in, I don't know, a week. Does this still work? Am I actually gonna be helping anybody? And once I decided that, you know what? I got trained in this. I believe in it. I trust that whatever this person needs, I'm going to deliver. I don't feel anxious anymore. So I healed that part of me. So now when a person comes in and they're anxious, I don't even know it because I don't have that hot button. So I think that's going to be all for today. I hope this was helpful, and look out for more, I guess, healer tips and tricks. And I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.